have my new phone so that I can have clear sound. But I thought, rather than do a position of the day like we've been doing today, Transformational Tuesday, I thought I would pull a card for the energy of what is it that we most likely need to know, maybe one or two. We'll see how much time we've got, 15 minutes or so. So I want to keep these quick. I still haven't done, I've done a written energy report for January. That's up on the members area, in your group, in Telegram, and on Facebook, on the Facebook group. And I will do a video that's public with the bullet points, but mostly I think I called it deep soul expansion was the embodiment word that I used for this month in particular, because we're kind of going on a deep dive. You're noticing the shifts in yourself, you're noticing where patterns are, able to kind of really reclaim the soul within the subconscious of your own path. It seems a bit esoteric on one level, but on a psych level, we're really starting to understand ourselves and the true meaning of knowing thyself, our shadow, our light. But what do we need to know in this now moment? What do I need to share with you from my highest guidance? I felt called for Wisdom of Avalon here. So let's pull one from here. So not as familiar with these cards. I read what it says to me and then what the book says for the card meaning. So the Water Fairy, feelings and emotions. Well, that's quite apt really, isn't it? We've just had the full moon. It's a full moon in Cancer. So that's talking about the influence of the feminine and the full moon effect, as I like to think of it, on our psyche, on our intuition, all themes that are running throughout the month anyway. This is a sense of the emotions and how we navigate. I'm looking at her. Look, she's got almost like webbed sort of fairy-like wings, and it just makes me think of gliding, flying, but flying through the water, flying through our own emotions. And again, I love the synchronicity. She's got those lilies in her hair, is she not? We were speaking about that yesterday in Meditation Monday, and visualizing this kind of the bud and the lily opening, how we're expansion, that third eye expansion needs to be coupled with the grounding of that. And I feel like all of the heart chakra energy that's coming out this month, and by that it's things that are really pulling your heartstrings, those emotions, they are helping us through our emotional fields as it expands with empathy, with compassion, to expand within our own self, within our own guidance. Our feelings, our emotions are sometimes something that we need to sail from, and I'm seeing the image of the boat navigating on the high seas, kind of when they're rough and tumble, and then you can also get those moments when it's the calm. Whatever moment you're in, whatever moment that you're navigating as the sailor, if you like, through that emotional, it's not trauma, but emotional awareness that's coming in as we connect with more of our emotional intelligence, we're feeling that we're floating like the lily pad, and knowing that we can ground down through the shadow, through what's happening in the darkness in this world, and allow it to then become the point of expansion. I heard one of the channelers say last week about how in the US, and I don't really ever talk about politics, but I thought that makes sense to me, how they were saying in the US that they are being shown through truth bringers stuff that mostly they would not take to be true. They think I'd take it with a pinch of salt. Now that's a load of conspiracy rubbish. All of that stuff that they would think is going to be shown to be a truth. And that in itself is an expansion. It's going beyond what we deem as being possible, going beyond what we deem is the limits. We've got these limits boxes almost like in our head. And the watery emotion of truth is going to like sort of fill it up and explode it out. It's doing that to the heart and the heart field. So the key here, and the key again for the rest of the month and the theme, is to ground with our own connection, however we do that with earthly energy. With regards to the feelings and water, can we have more? Let's have more on this. Hang on, I will pull another one. How? That's what it is. Let's see. Joy. How? Joy. Feel your joy. The sacred journey. So it's, and there's a picture of the sun, the rock, nature. To me, this is pure and simple. This is that joy out in nature, the energy of the sun. That rock to me even looks like a bird. It's that reminder. It's shaped like the bird is in, we have to see from higher perspective. So almost like you need to be your own drone or energy, your own drone high up there. You need to be constantly connecting, feeling like you're rooting down and out with the earth, with your loved ones, with your pets, with your friends, with your family. That's the key. And having joy, having those sparks of happiness, which will ground you because it's in the present moment. It's very physical, and it will put our emotions back on track and reset through the nervous system. Laughter, things, watching comedies. I'm feeling it, like I suppose I'm being shown. My heart is filling up. It's so full, it wants to burst. That kind of like love that makes you bring tears to your eyes. That feeling the sun that we each are. Each of us have this ability to beam that out and allow it to affect those around us, allowing our joys to be contagious. And that's how. So I asked, how do we tackle these feelings of these emotions of the stuff through this Cancer full moon, when there's so much that's bringing the waves of emotion? And that's tampered with. I'm also hearing with this push of fear. And I saw some advert and some TV program yesterday, and I thought, oh my God, it's like we've gone rewind back 5 years, nothing's changed. And it's like that's what's being pretended, the pretense that's being shoved down people's throat of fear. And I thought, really? And then I looked and saw around me that in throughout my week, in like sort of experiences with people, that there are people that they are in that trapped almost, or appears to me to be trapped. But who am I to say what is a trap and what's not? That is their reality. We all have to respect what each of these realities are. I speak also about, and I mentioned this about the TARDIS effect, I'm calling it for this month, that each of our bodies are becoming like a TARDIS, that we step out into our reality. Outside the TARDIS, you can see you've stepped into this room, if you like, this land, this dimension, and someone else steps out of their TARDIS and they might be in the same land dimension, that they've been taken to the same destination by way of our frequency, of our emotion, of our heart frequency, or wherever we are on that spectrum, if you like, of the emotional scale, or the it's more about our state of being and our state of consciousness, and that will be becoming more and more apparent as we move to the end of the month. But that you are in this box, not like a protective box, but that you're able to step in and out of this box, and it moves around up and down. Elevator kind of gives you the wrong indication, because then that implies that down is down and up is up, and it's not that at all. It's frequency, it's awareness, it's consciousness scale, as opposed to high frequency, low frequency, good, bad. It's beyond the concept of good and bad. It goes completely beyond that. It's how people view things, their perspective, their state of being, their consciousness, and that's what more of us are being able to determine as we step in and out of boxes. This is why I'm calling it TARDIS effect, because you can step back in, you can step out on a different day and be in a different place. You're also able to view from your box what's happening in those where they've stepped out, and you can be in the same room but on total different wavelengths, if you like, another way of saying it, or total different dimensions. And that's this merging of the timelines, all simultaneously happening in the same sense of space. The space part is how we move through the time. We're actually beyond that. When we're in these TARDISes, we're starting to see beyond that, but some haven't actually stepped into theirs. They're kind of, it's there, they're viewing it more like a TV show around them. So that's kind of going on in the background and more apparent, and will be as we start to kind of step into our own power. So the key was the sacred journey here. It's in relation to the emotions. What else? It's the reflection of our energy as it becomes the experience in our reality. It's the sun grounded in the physicality of the body and our emotions and through our fields. And what does that mean in 3D terms? That we're feeling it. For me, on a personal level, as example, tiredness. And I know that the old concept or story, if you like, of stepping into that conscious out of one doorway of the TARDIS would have said, oh, I'm run down, that means I need rest. Actually, it felt like, no, that was wrong. That was like, this is a reminder to go within. This is a reminder, this came up this morning as well, a reminder to connect to that which is all in the wholeness of me, my divine essence, my divine being, my divine presence, and express that freely, without the fear of being seen, if you like, but grounded in the reality that is in my reflection, in how I interpret that, how I express that. So then someone else comes and sees that like they're looking at a reflection of me in the pond of reality, and it's like a bell going off in a cave, and that pings back again, and then those people can then have an understanding in their own concepts and belief systems, if you like. Got lost. As the structures fall away, we will start to, we've already started, there are many projects out there, creative projects, that are weaving a new web, if you like, a new reality, a new physicality with their intention, and already that's sort of solidifying. The more and more light that is kind of put into that, becoming, people use buzzwords like new earth, ascension, what's another one, I don't know, rapture, all different things depending on what faith structure or cultural belief systems are fit around it, but they all interpreted maybe from different lenses, but they are reality of the same. A new, I want to say web is probably is a nicer way of thinking of it. And if you think of like the internet or the World Wide Web as it is, all of that information that's put in that creates the internet. Everything, when you do searches, it's got all of that information. Well, we're all, with our intention, putting all of this information in and creating these new projects. And there's more and more projects that want to be more ethical. They want to be more sustainable, for example. They want to be more conscious, more soul-led. And the more of that that's put in, typed up, that's what's creating the new structure. That's meaning that the old structure, which actually is no longer relevant, but energetically, but physicalities are still kind of falling away. Things are happening, and we're kind of seeing the effects of that in the things that are playing out in the world today, which we don't necessarily want to see happening. Therefore, higher perspective reminds us to focus on where we're going, so that quickly things can solidify in what's being woven in this creative energy, this spider energy, this six energy, this not to trap. So sometimes we think about the web, the matrix, as being a trap. Think about it in terms of the matrix, the mother energy that it's related to, the creation, rather than the destruction. And it's a bit like maybe there's been a house, a structure, on a space. Now that's being dismantled a bit by brick by brick. Some bits kind of coming down, and it looks a bit messy because someone's got a sledgehammer to some of it going on, and they're clearing away all the footings, and they're going right back to the ground where things are. They've got to even go through the piping, and seeing these images that are being through social media at the moment, going down into the ground and the groundworks, and then actually, oh, okay, this is tangled up. Well, the way this was laid wasn't working, so let's now restructure that so that when we put it back, so that when it's built, and it won't ever be built again, it'll never be a structure, it will be like a morphing thing that evolves, very futuristic, like in my mind, that like if any of the Star Trek fans out there, almost like the hologram, that you go in and it evolves continuously, ongoingly, for what is needed in the now moment on an energetical level, if that makes sense. I know I'm using a lot of metaphors. So that's where we're heading. That's with regards to tech, with regards to politics, with regards to economics. That's all big stuff. I did ask the big questions. How about something simple? What about, have we got for time? We've got time for one more. Okay, for this month I've already done. So, okay, what's relevant to know? For finances, a lot of people want to know about finances. I know that's a very 3D thing. What do we need to know with regard? They're saying the same. That's as with regards to financial systems as well. The creative things that are happening and different stuff as old things fall away to be different. So not to be afraid, to be excited, stuff coming, and that will switch that fear, excitement energy of the emotions to accelerate the things that we consider to be good, but not necessarily good, but maybe a better feeling place for most people, because there is no wrong, is what I hear. What do I need to share for the good of all, for the good of Shabbos? That one there. Hawk. Omens and messages. Oh, I need to share the omens. I need to share the messages. Hawk looks from above. Wings in the sky. Look to the stars. The feather, the bird, bird's eye view and higher perspective gives ease for the messages that are coming. When we think of omens, sometimes we think of it as being necessarily a bad thing, but there can be things that are omens of hope, things that are, what's the word? Portal for change is what I want the word sound better for. They're the animals and the guardians of Avalon. Yeah, spirit animals. I'm hearing like to do with aviation as well, planes. When we look within, that there's things that are happening in the skies that are portals of change, messages and omens. So like when you look to the stars, when you look to the clouds, what's that called when you see pictures in the clouds? I can't remember the name of it. You see things that are relevant to the brain. Yes, that is a thing, but also that can be the message, because you'll see what you need to see. You're being guided to hear what you need to hear. The symbols we see around us are so relevant to what is in that now moment, to kind of trigger a mental click of like a piece of the puzzle in our understanding it within the psyche, within the subconscious. And 11 is portal. There's the card here is 11. It is the portal of change. The omen is that there's a portal of change to come. Okay, I will leave it at that. Have a beautiful week. Hope for that helps. Let me know in the comments if any of that rings true for you and what's going on with you. How are you feeling? If you haven't had a chance, you can listen to our meditation from yesterday. It should be up on the page. I also post them, as I say, up on the Patreon site. You don't have to be a paid member. I think you have to have an account, that's all, and you don't pay for your account, so you can be a free member, and there's loads of stuff on there as well, not just for the paid members. There's also the Facebook group that's for the paid members and ex-members on there, and in the Telegram group. So I hope all is well with you. Say well. What do I want to say? What do I need to express? It's hard to be careful here too, don't we? It's hard to watch what's happening and not let your heart open. For me, for example, I think of all the pets and animals that are in these places, war zones, areas where there's fires or floods, and the animals, nature itself, and it makes me sad to think that they're caught in the cross of what's happening. So I have to remind myself to kind of come out of that and see from higher perspective, to know that there's lots of stories of rescues, of daring defeats, and to focus on those, to focus on the joy, to focus on, like they said, family is how we deal with the emotion of that. And I think that little spark of hope can be woven into more joy, woven into an excitement, energetically, so that we can solidify these shifts and changes, and holding that state, anchoring in, seeing the end result more and more actually happening in the now moment within the TARDIS. So love and blessings. Take care. Thank you.